Originally I was starting this series on humility, and it was going to be a 3-part series only, and we are already on number 6. And it's so foundational. This mindset, this heart realignment, that we are to be humble. And, we can't force ourselves to be humble. In fact, the Bible warns against a false humility of don't do this or the other thing. So we've got to be very careful here. Humility comes from the heart. It comes from the experience of knowing our own natural depravity when we're separated from Christ. It's knowing how far we have fallen from God in our natural state, and how wonderful it is the resurrection life He gives us when we come to that point of total surrender. If you want a key to walk in humility, total humility, I believe it's this. It's in total surrender to the Lordship of Jesus Christ. Because when we recognize what Jesus did for us on the cross, that's why some of us wear crucifixes, so that we can identify with the death of Christ, so we might be raised in newness of life with Him in the power of His resurrection. When we identify with the Christ and His suffering, we realize that He suffered for my sin. Then all pride begins to just peel away and fall off as dirty, filthy rags, knowing that human pride does not work the righteousness of God, does not get any brownie points, doesn't gain any favors with God. But I'd rather be the friend of God and the enemy of the world, rather than the friend of the world and be an enemy, or to be found working against the Lord. Folks, this society we live in, this world we live in, is not getting more Christian. It's getting more atheistic. It's getting more humanistic. And sometimes we kid ourselves because we see technological advances, we see like the great work being done to combat COVID-19 this year, for instance, and we think, well, that's great, this is good, this is an advancement. Yeah, we're advancing, but where are we advancing? If we're only advancing on the human level, then I question the eternal validity of that progress. And that's not to disparage or to put down medical workers, scientists, scholars, or anybody. It is to say that ultimately there's a greater reality, and when we live in that greater reality, humbled before the Lord, then He can exalt us, and He will indeed help you and me make this a better world. And I want to share from the book of Micah in the Old Testament, just to reinforce this point. Book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 8. He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. When we do that, we can indeed be great citizens and great help and blessing to a world that is corrupt and is plagued with evil. The greatest plague is not COVID-19. The greatest plague is the evil of the heart that has surrendered to the wiles of the enemy. The Bible calls Satan the god of this world. So folks, there's a battle line that you and I have to draw in our hearts. Choose this day whom you will serve. And let us serve the God of Israel. Let us serve the Messiah of Israel. Let us serve the Christ of the world, the light of the world, Jesus, Messiah, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, what is Hebrew name. Let us know that in his sacrifice, his death, his burial, his resurrection, he gives us resurrection life. And I'm going to call you today to make that commitment to Christ, because that is a first step toward heaven, in the humility of our heart, surrendered, and just saying willingly and with love and adoration, Jesus, be my Lord and be my salvation. Amen.